Welcome to Going Deeper with Elisa DiLorenzo. We go deeper because marriage was not meant to be lived at the surface. I'm Elisa, and I'm so excited about today's topic about overcoming offense. Now, Tony and I have been married over 20 years, and I know that there's probably one or two times that I've offended him, and maybe a handful of times that I've been offended. Just kidding. But 20 years, there's been a lot of offense in our marriage, and our guest today is going to be helping us really work through that and how to overcome offense in marriage. But before we get there, I want to thank this week's sponsor, Position of the Month Club, and you can check it out at positionofthemonthclub.com. You know, are you tired of trying to start a conversation only to stop, I don't know, 2 or 3 sentences in because your spouse won't get off their phone? Are you over waiting for those special occasions that never seem to happen because you want every day to feel special? Are you craving the fun, sexy times that you used to have in the bedroom, and you're wondering, is it me? Is it them? Who is it? Well, Position of the Month Club is the place where you can get fun new ideas, creative tips on building intimacy, and timely resources to help you and your spouse grow closer, all without the eye-roll-inducing suggestions you get in some other places. So check it out now at positionofthemonthclub.com. So my guest today, she's an author, a wife, a mother, a coach, and a minister to wives. Brenda Moore realized her passion and desire to help women to overcome obstacles and challenges in their marriages through the challenges that she faced in her own and recording those in her daily journal writing. Through journaling, she started to see her faults and need for self-improvement. Her marriage of 10 years to her wonderful husband, Bill, had its ups and downs in the beginning. And listen to this. It didn't improve until she actually changed her perspective, which later resulted in the positive change she desired to see in her marriage. She started coaching and mentoring wives and was able to see God's plan for her life, family, and marriage. And she wanted to share all that God revealed to her about marriage with others. It's her desire to see wives unlock the supernatural in their marriage. Brenda credits her ability to coach wives and prepare women for marriage as a gift from God. And as you can see with the beautiful background there, she lives in Hampton, Connecticut with her husband. And together the couple has a blended family with 6 children.
Yes.
Brenda's first book, titled Wife Check, Becoming a Crown of Beauty, was released in April of 2015. And you can learn about all that she does at thewifecoachbrendamore.com. Welcome, Brenda.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, to have the opportunity to talk about this big issue in marriage, which is offense. Sometimes we don't even know that we're like operating in offense. We have to identify it so we can overcome it and move past it. So this is a great topic. This is a topic that helped me in my marriage as well. So I'm looking forward to the questions and, just having an open forum with you all.
Absolutely. And folks, I want to share with you Brenda's voice. You can hear it's maybe a little scratchy. She has been pouring into so many people over the last few days that she's got a little bit of a frog in her throat. But we're believing that you are going to be not just inspired, but you're going to have takeaways to deal with overcoming offense in your marriage. So, just send her all the prayers and good energy for the voice that she is strong for our time together. And Brenda, you mentioned, or I mentioned in your bio that, you and Bill have had your ups and downs. And I always like, as I'm just opening up the conversation with my guests, can you tell us a little bit about your marriage? Blended family, 6 kids, you guys got a lot going on.
We've been married 10 years this past June. Our anniversary was June 23rd. When we first got married, we weren't Christians. We weren't saved. So it was very rocky. Some people look at us now and they're like, wow, like what happened within those 10 years to get to where you are now, being a wife mentor, a wife coach, writing a book about this. And it's not until, like you said, mentioned in my bio, until I came to the end of myself and said, God, I want to do it your way.
Yeah.
And not until I got there, I didn't get the understanding of marriage. I didn't understand what my role was, even as a wife, but God had to put that all into me. I had to renew my mind in that area. So now, what you see now is this, me saying, God, I want to do it your way and not my way. But I'm not going to say it wasn't easy at first. It wasn't easy at first, but I had to develop my faith in God and let him to begin to show me the picture of marriage, to show me where my flaws were and be willing and open to receive from God as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, my marriage is how it is today. We work together, but it wasn't really until I made a decision, I settled it in my heart that I wanted a better marriage and I was going to do it God's way.
That's so powerful there. And even when I read your bio, when you first sent it over, the idea that you had to get to the point where I need to do something, right? Like I can't keep looking at Bill, because what I'm hearing there and what I know from my own marriage to Tony is that typically when we're looking at our spouses, it is because we feel that offense.
Yes.
That
this is going to segue into offense.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, if we're going to just go right into the topic of offense, I believe there's two types of people. There's a people who are easily offended, and there are people who are always in a state of offense. Like they're too busy being offended in their marriage, so they can't move forward. So we have to identify that first. And so once we identify, okay, this is the type of person that's easily offended, there's something going on within them. Their thoughts are not sober, their thoughts are not renewed. And then there's the person that's always in a state of offense. And usually that's rooted in entitlement and selfishness. See, we want to go deep. We got to go deep.
For it.
We got to go deep. So that's, what God revealed to me about offense, that I was in a state of offense because I felt entitled. So if I felt like things didn't go my way, it was my own perceived notions though of what I expected. And so my husband wasn't aware of them. So we never had these kinds of talks. We didn't communicate, what is your level of understanding about me and my behaviors and my actions. So we have to have those levels of conversations too that we're missing in our marriage. So the offense, we could be operating in offense and don't even know it. And it's something very simple as having a conversation to say, what is your behavior like? If I say this, how do you typically respond? Get into the heart of the issue. And we're married and we say like we're one, we're supposed to be one, and it sounds good. Well, are we really doing it though? Are we really having these deep, meaningful conversations to really get on one page and understand one another? So I wanted to point that out as well. See, I can keep talking. This is why my voice is so hoarse, because if you don't stop me, I might just keep going. So I'm just going to stop to give my voice a rest.
Well, and that's fine. I didn't want to stop you because I was just like mining all the gold. And okay. I know if I am, all the listeners are too. But you said some really powerful things there about, this idea of, am I easily offended? Mm-hmm. Or am I living in this state of just being offended? Mm-hmm. Right. And I think a lot of people don't ever stop to think, which one am I in? Mm-hmm. And if so, what's driving that? Right? Why do I have these feelings of resentment towards my spouse? Why am I so easily angered? Right? I mean, we all know both husbands and wives who seem to go from 0 to 60 in their anger, which is a result of offense. Right? That's anger is coming. It is. But what I hear you saying,
right, and really, it's if we really want to go deeper, the person that's always in the state of offense or just easily offended, there's some brokenness in your thought process. We want like our spouse, we want to filter everything through them. They can't handle all that. They can't even handle really what's going on with them. But we want to take our offense, our emotions, and lay it on them and let them filter it for us. You see, and we put that on our spouses. This topic is big. I mean, it really is, because what happens is we're putting things on them, expectations on them that they're not aware of, but it's really our issue. And if our spouse, they're not sober-minded, they kind of get jacked up in their thoughts because they don't know how to handle us. Right. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we really have to really start having, like I said, these conversations, and it's kind of time out for just saying that we are. I'm working with married couples, and I'm finding out that we're really not talking. We're really not communicating. We're just, just going by day, just letting things happen and letting things continue to be unresolved until this mountain grows in our marriage. And now we have to, take, counseling, and some people take medications to knock it down. But we got to nip this in the bud. And the root problem is we don't really know who we're married to. We don't really know, the state of mind our spouse is in until we really say, okay, what type of person you are. let me identify your sensibility level. Like, are you, like, going back to offense, are you easily offended? That's the biggest thing. And see, with my husband, he's not easily offended. When I was a wife undone, I was, but it was rooted in selfishness. It was rooted in the fact that you're my husband, and I feel that you should do whatever I say. You should, you should be my savior. You should fix everything that's wrong with me. And when you didn't do it the way I wanted you to do it, I became offended. And see, what God showed me is, even if, me as a spouse, I had a problem with rejection too. So rejection played in that. So what rejection did to me was, it said, okay, your spouse said something to you, just react a certain way so he doesn't reject you. So it's just layers and layers of this offense. But I'm telling you, if you're struggling in your marriage and offense is a big issue, it's really going to start with you to try to, identify, where am I in this problem? Not really with your spouse. It's going to start with you. Remember, when God actually deals with us, he deals with us first, not our spouse. So we got to stop pointing the finger at our spouse.
Brenda, I love that, because so often, and I know you work with couples, I work with couples, we get people coming in and they're like, well, do something with him or do something with her, right? Like, fix them. And so this idea, and I want to just dig into it a little bit about, what did you discover when you were doing your journaling? I find journaling to be incredibly therapeutic for myself personally, and I recommend it to a lot of my clients. But what was that process like for you? Because I'm just guessing that there are people watching this that are going, okay, if I have to deal with me, how do I figure that out?
Right. Okay. So my process was this. My marriage was struggling. And I came to myself and said, I'm a Christian woman. God, I know you want more from me in my marriage. Like, why is my marriage on a front? We're not communicating. We're basically in different rooms. Like, this is not your plan for marriage. It can't be. And so when I came to the end of myself and I said, okay, I'm going to do it your way, God. This is the title of my book is called Wife Check for a reason. And it's called Wife Check because when I came to myself and finally realized that, I was being selfish. I was in a state of offense. Had these thoughts of entitlement. God said, okay, you want to do it my way. Now I have to deal with you. So wife check. So that's where the whole wife check concept came from. And the book is basically themed after me discovering my journey through wifehood and to becoming this woman of God, this Christian wife that God, wants for his daughters. So I started to journal during those times when he began to reveal to me, his plans for me as a wife. It was so powerful and so, healing that I had to put it on paper. So as I'm getting this revelation, like, but God, I want him to do this. And, he said he was going to do this. And he was like, okay, trust me in this area. I'm going to deal with him. And I'm like, wife check, like you just checked me, God. So I would just write those things down. And then, over time, like over a year of just doing that, I looked at my journal and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have like these wife check confessions, these things that God did with me in my heart. I had the stoniness in my heart. That's all the offense, the selfishness, the and all those hurt, all those things that contributed to the offense. So I actually, it wasn't supposed to be a book. Somebody actually read my journal and was like, no way, this has to be a book. Like, you have to get this information out to wives. So that's kind of how the book came about. But the name of the book is Wife Check. And see, when God checked me, I was offended, right? I was offended because my mind is not renewed in that area. I was offended because I'm like, you're supposed to be dealing with him, not me. And so God was like, nope, I'm going to deal with him. But in order for this thing to be the way I want it to do, I have to heal you too. I have to deliver you from some things too. And then, in the process, I'm going to take care of everything else. So that's how my journaling kind of came about.
Well, and I love that as you looked back over your journaling, you saw so many different, I'm going to say downloads, for lack of a better, with the confessions, with the God saying, let me take care of this. Like, instead of you putting your fingerprints all over it, let me, like, why don't you release this one to me with him? I'll take care of him, but you and we're going to do you. Right. And this whole concept of, when you've been offended, that there's a healing process.
Absolutely.
That has to happen, because we want I'm sitting in a room with all these lights on it, and we want to have like a light switch moment, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm offended. I want to switch the light on. I'm offended. And then I want to switch it off, and I just want to release it. But what I'm hearing you say is that there's actually a healing process.
Yes. And it was because during those times I realized the battle was really in my mind. We hear that a lot too. It was really, the things that I would, was being offended about was things that, over my life experience, things that put me in a state of offense, well, also these thoughts, it got to the point where I say this a lot too, when your husband walks in the room, does he know whether to say hi or bye to you? And they're like, what does that mean? Like, what is your mood like? Like, he doesn't know if he's gonna say hi, if you're gonna be offended. If you say bye, if he's gonna be, it's like, it's it's something I check myself with too. Like, I want to make sure that I'm not offending my husband as well. So I want him to be able to come and speak to me, because some people, you would be surprised that, you could say hello to them and they'll be like, I don't like the way you said that. But I'm like, it's just hello. It's just hello. Like, what is going on in your mind to make you offended for someone just saying hello to you? So that takes healing there. That takes healing, just to understand, what's in my heart. Like, what did someone hurt me at, at hello? You have to really discover, who you are in your marriage. And like I said, we have to sit down and talk about these things. You might have to just sit down and set a time aside. And I know it sounds simple, but the reason why I'm saying is because people are really not doing it. They might say that they are, they're really not. Like you said, just sitting down with couples and you're saying, do you guys, talk? Do you guys pray together? And they're like, no, but it appears that you do. Right. But no, we're not doing it. That's where you're missing it at. And just one other thing I want to talk on about, just because we're talking about the language. One of the biggest things too is the language too, watching your language. Some of the tips that I give wives are, when you talk and communicate with your husband, try to make sure that you're not being accusatory in your language. And that's huge. That's huge because, I didn't know what that meant at first. And, you might have a communication style where, your words are offensive. So if you go to your husband and you start, doing the blame game because you're offended or whatever, you did this, you missed the mark there, automatically they're going to become offended because you're blaming them. So you want to be able to have a conversation without anyone being offended. So you got to know how to be tactful and graceful in your communication as well. And that's the biggest thing that hinders our communication. When we go, we have an agenda, I need to talk to you. I don't like the way you said this. I don't like the way you did that. And it's accusatory language. It's accusatory. Yeah. Nobody likes to be talked like that. And if you come to me like that, I'm going to be offended. I'm going to be offended. So I just want to tell the people who are watching, that's one of the biggest tips, not to be accusatory in language, and let your language be filled with grace. When God is dealing with you and you're practicing, overcoming offense, or if your spouse is easily offended by your words, try not to be accusatory.
Do you have an example, Brenda? Because you just gave us a few examples of definitely what it sounds like when you are accusatory, like you did this. What would it sound like, if I was being bothered by something, what would I say to my husband to change that language, to have that grace, to be more conscious of my word choice?
I would just say, your husband, you kind of know what his communication style is, and to encourage him. If there's something that, he did say that you did like, you just say something as simple as, I like when you said this to me. I like when you talk that. You just have to be mindful not to use those words like, you, and it's starting to point the finger. You just say, I kind of like when you did this, or I kind of like when you said that. It made me feel a certain way and it made me feel good. So you encourage them that way. And that's huge. And that's something that's very simple, but it can go a long way in your marriage if you encourage your spouse with words. Like I said, just pick, a few times where your spouse really said something that you like and how it made you feel, and remind him how it made you feel. So the next time they communicate, they'll keep that in mind. And it takes time to build your spouse up in that area, but just be mindful. Okay, there's something good about their communication, and just make a point of pointing it out to them in a good, positive way.
Well, and what I'm hearing you say there is, look for those positive interactions so you can focus on those and connect their positive words, their positive actions with a positive feeling inside of you. So they've got that that relationship there. If I say this or if I do this, it's going to make her feel like this. So let me do more of this.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it right there. Because like you said, you want to get your husband, if you have a hard time communicating with him, you want to encourage them to communicate with you.
Well, and the other part of that too is that, as you were saying, you were talking about, the blaming and the fingers and stuff. I wonder how many of us as wives and husbands, because I know we've got both watching this, are pointing fingers without actually pointing the fingers. Like it's going on in our head and we're like, oh, I'm not going to put my finger, but through my body language, through the words that I'm choosing, I'm creating a spirit of offense in the marriage. And so to really have this consciousness of, okay, I'm not going to choose to do that, but that's one strategy here. How do we, let's say I've been offended, right? How do we overcome offense in marriage? Because it happens. I know, I can't speak for you. I know Tony and I, even though with all the marriage work that we do, we still have our moments.
Yes.
Where it creeps in.
I think the biggest thing for me was realizing that my offense was rooted, like I said, in a rejection. I had to realize that I'm accepted. I had to realize like who I am. Like I'm a good person, even if my husband doesn't agree with me, that I'm so awesome, that I'm still accepted. I'm still beloved. And see, once we realize, okay, we're a good person and people love us and God said we're beloved by him, our biggest thing is we want total acceptance from our spouses, but they can't give us all those things. They can't fill every void and every need that we have. So we really have to start taking our thoughts and filtering them through the word of God and what he says about us, because the root of it is really acceptance. You want your spouse to accept you. You want him to accept your words. You want him to accept your thinking. You want him to accept even the stuff you say about him. And so when we don't get there, that's when the offense really starts. But what I would say to that person is, identify who you are as a person, identify all the positive things about you, and know that you are accepted by God. And so when we start to really start shifting our focus from our spouses 100% and really say, okay, if he doesn't do what I need him to do here, God is really the one that's going to take care of me. And so we got to, that's the mind renewal process, really putting our first focus on God. Yes, our spouses, they're the icing on the cake if they just love us and do everything for us. Praise God.
Yeah.
But, praise God. So, but if he's not perfect, I understand that my spouse is not perfect. And I wanted that accepted. I want him to accept every part of me. But I understand that he's flawed too. He's flawed and he wants total acceptance too. And I can't even give that to him because I'm flawed and I'm expecting him to feel me. You see what I'm saying? So now we got to realize that, I would say filter your words and your thoughts, take them away from your spouse and focus them more on God and say, God, how do you feel about this? And God is always going to tell you that he loves you, right? He's always going to tell you that you're accepted here. He's never going to reject you. He's not going to put you in a state of offense. So you get filled over there. So when you are in the presence of your husband, you're not offended, or your wife, you're not offended, because you're filled up with God's love and his grace and his acceptance, that you can actually be free and say, you know what? I'm going to love my husband anyway. I'm not offended. I'm overcoming this because God didn't show me some things. You see what I'm saying? It's a process. It just flows. Once you're over here with God, spending time with him, you overcome that offense, and because he fills you with his grace, he fills you with his love. And so he heals you from all those things that put you in a state of offense. So now when you're with your husband, you're starting to see that you're not easily offended. You're given more grace than offense. So it's a process, but we overcome by spending time with God. Really, that's the key. That's the key to this. You got to spend time with God so he can empty all the offense out, and then he can fill you up with his grace so you can be graceful in your marriage. That's the key.
That's such a powerful process, because I loved what you said at the beginning, that we're putting all of this on our spouses to be, everything and do everything for us. And that's not a role that they were ever designed to fulfill. And so when we have that awareness, I love the process that you described. When we have that awareness of their role, our role, and our relationship with God, and we go and take what we're trying to put on them and actually take that back over to God and get the understanding that we're accepted and we're loved and we're not rejected. And so we can fill up on that, then what we give to our spouses actually comes from the overflow of understanding that relationship with God. And when things are not going well, because there's conflict in marriage, and there will be, because we're two flawed human beings, knowing that we don't go first pointing fingers and getting all worked up with our spouse, we turn it back over here and say, okay, God, like, what do I need to deal with first?
That's it.
And then taking that grace back over to our husbands or wives and saying, okay, this is what was going on with me. Like taking that responsibility first, which is, going all the way back to your bio that I read about, understanding me first to fix things. And then we create an entirely different atmosphere in our marriage.
Yes. Grace-filled atmosphere, not an offensive atmosphere. We want a grace-filled atmosphere, but we can't get there, like I said, until we overcome and we get filled by God. He's filling us up. So, when, like I said, I have struggles in my marriage too, but, the wife check concept is huge for me, and I apply it to my thoughts. So like I said, the title of a book is Wife Check, because I'm checking myself constantly, like, wife, okay, can I do better in this area? I don't want to be offended. Lord, you show me something in this area. And he always does. And then I'm like, okay, I got checked in that area. But it's a loving, it's loving. It's not anything that's going to put me back in a state of offense. It's going to free me. And that's what I give to my husband. I coach that, having these grace-filled marriages. And like you said, you create a whole nother atmosphere. Who wants to be in an offensive marriage all day long? Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine, like, seriously, because I know, like, people are like in a state of offense in their marriage, and that's not the will of God. You think about God is awesome. He wants the best for us. His plan is for goodness. And so that's when I was like, God, I know you're an awesome God. Like, marriage is your thing. You created marriage. Like, why am I struggling? Like, why am I here? I want to see the goodness of marriage. So I went after it. So that's why, who I am now, because I decided. I didn't come to my husband and say, this is what I want you to come along. I was going to do this no matter what. I said, I want this. So if you're struggling in your marriage and you're listening to this video and you're in a state of offense, go to God before you go to your husband. If you're offended, it's going to take some time, because I know we have these things that we might argue and fight and all that. That just says that you need some healing, you need some renewal, and that's okay. God will give it to you. Your husband can't renew your mind and fill you with grace and help you overcome your offense. He can't do that. So I keep saying husband, but your spouse. But spend time with God. Spend time with God. Let him develop you into the person that he wants you to be in your marriage. Spend time with him. Whenever you have these feelings of ill will and conflict, bring it to God before you bring it to your spouse. Let him deal with you first. Let him, like I said, empty it out with him, and let him give you what he wants to give you for that situation. So you can extend that grace, and then you can be an example, and then your spouse will see you, and then they will want to be like, okay, wow, what's going on?
Right.
They want to tap into the grace too. Like, grace is a beautiful thing.
Well, and I love that, just as we're wrapping up here, because what that tells me, and listening to your story and just all of the insights that you've had, is that each one of us has the power to change our marriages. And we have the power to step into a different environment, to create a different environment. And so I thank you so much for just like opening our eyes today to what this cycle can be like for us. Like, we can spin out of the negative cycle and spin into a positive one.
Yes.
And strengthen our marriages and create, I love that phrase that you use, create those grace-filled marriages. So Brenda, as we close, is there one word or phrase that you have kind of as your marriage mantra, or, just the words that you guys live by?
The biggest thing I tell people in their marriages is love your spouse where they are now. That's the biggest thing, because if you look at everything else, you get overwhelmed. Just enjoy each other right now in the moment. Love them where they are now. All the other stuff gotta take care of, but it's just enjoy marriage. Just relax and just just dig into the moments. Create these moments. Just think about it. For every minute you're in a fence, you're losing out on a moment that you can't create that could be awesome.
Wow. So, all right, Brenda, you are like you're a gold mine. That's why I wish we had hours, but we don't. Can you tell folks where to find you so that if they want to dig into Wife Check, if they want to just be like, okay, I want more of Brenda, where do they go?
Like you mentioned early in the interview, my website is www.thewifecoachbrendamore.com. Also, I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram under Wife Coach. I'm also on Facebook under my Facebook page, Wife Coach Brenda Moore, or just my husband and I. We do have Bill and Brenda Moore through Facebook. So those are all my social media hashtags. So you guys can just reach out to me, inbox me, or connect with me through my website, and I will be happy to assist you.
Awesome. Well, as we close today's Growing Deeper, I just want to thank Brenda for all of her insights, because offense can be a wedge and it can cause all different kinds of disconnect, and it doesn't have to. You don't have to be stuck there. And, don't stay where you're at today when the vision that Brenda has cast for each and every one of us is a better tomorrow. Start walking towards that today. And, I want to encourage you and your spouse to go deeper on this topic of overcoming offense. Don't just say, well, this is how it's going to be. Take these words, sit down with your spouse and watch this video again and say, we don't have to do it like this. Or better yet, you just start taking action, right, to create that change. And I want to encourage you to join me next time, as we're going to be talking about having better orgasms here on Going Deeper. But till then, go deeper with your spouse, because marriage was not meant to be lived on the surface.